don't know why y'all let me do the lights. What's going on, beautiful people? We getting there. We getting there. We are in there like swimwear. Oh, the digital age. What's going on, beautiful people? What y'all doing? What y'all on? Awesome, me too. I'm right there. I'm right in there. My bad. I know this is always not a good look, but it's a look. We got our teleprompter all set up and updated, so don't mind me because I'm learning how to use it. And I really mean that I'm learning how to use it. Oh, don't start while we're live. Don't start while we're live. Not we're live. Okay, we're good. And I might have to change the microphone because it's really starting to piss me off being up top. And I feel like it's in my face sometimes and I don't want it to be. Like, I'm like Bob Ross and shit behind the bush. What's going on? How y'all doing on this beautiful Wednesday? Look, last show was mids. I'm gonna be 1,000. I know when I don't do good, and that's okay. That's the point of us learning. And as a community, we grow. And with the teleprompter, who knows? Maybe I learn how to read. Like, I really hope that it works. And no, I didn't practice before the show. I don't even know what I'm reading. These pull quotes are complete mysteries. Ooh. Well, my name's Kasabian Lavoe. If this is your first time watching, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back. You're a part of the live studio audience. And if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, head over to YouTube so I can see your comments. We can't see your comments anywhere else, unfortunately. But shout out to my Facebook fam, my Twitch fam, and all the millions and millions of podcast listeners. We'll start recording the show and get into the topics. I wish I had a good joke today. I don't have a good joke. I haven't really had a good joke in a minute. So, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Or girl. Don't put aluminum foil in the microwave or it'll blow up. I was told that every generation skips telling a generation. So you don't know that. That's what I was told. Oh, y'all can see that. Yeah. If you're watching, you can't hear the music. The reason you can't hear the music is because YouTube doesn't let us play the music. So head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, Amazon, anywhere where podcasts listen to so you can hear the intro song of the show today. It's Kasabian. Kasabian Lavoe. Lavoe 1. What's going on, beautiful people? My name is Kasabian Lavoe, and welcome back to the Kasabian Lavoe Show, live from Las Vegas. I'm your host, Kasabian, behind the microphone with talent, on loan from God. Welcome back. Shout out to the millions of podcast listeners. You guys are amazing. And gals, just the whole pod fam. Y'all the best. Shout out to everybody watching, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Remember to be a part of the live studio audience. Head over to YouTube. And will you consider liking and subscribing? We don't really ask for much. If you like and subscribe, more people get to watch. And it just helps the show grow. Like, subscribe, tell somebody about it. We, homegrown. That's the goal here. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about 50 Cent. We got to have some 50 Cent appreciation. I feel like we don't talk about 50 Cent enough. And we'll get into Dave Chappelle. That spectacular performance. Like always, I don't expect anything less. I love the person that he's becoming. His storytelling style of comedy is phenomenal. And I can't wait to see what else he's got to do. There was a school shooter earlier today in Texas. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the debt ceiling. What's going on with our money? Is there no money? Are we running out? Are we going to figure it all out? Comments that Sage Steele? Steely? I'm not really sure. So she made some comments, and that's basically today's biggest question. I would love to see it in the comments. If you are a biracial child and you grow up in a household that is just one of your races, is that the race that you have to identify with? We'll get into it. I know it sounds probably I butchered that, but for example, if you're mixed black and white and you grow up in a white house, do you put down that you're white if you're light skin or dark skin and you don't look like a white person, but you were raised by white people and you are white, technically you're white and black, so you can pick either or. How does that work? These comments got her in trouble. We'll talk about it. I think it's very, very interesting. We'll talk about the housing crisis, because now it's a crisis. Okay, it's not a crisis. Let me not say that. We'll talk about housing and how mortgage is going up. Rates are going up. Houses are actually hitting the market for the first time in a long time. And a lot of things are changing and things you should be aware of. And we'll talk about rent in Nevada. Vegas especially. How high can rent go? We've seen rents increase up to $700. We'll get into that and talk about more. And then we'll talk about Bad Bobby looking like she's 45 years old and what's going on with Lotto. Is this the worst rebrand in hip-hop history? And I hate to talk about women artists, but I think Dave did enough with the baby that we could just avoid all that. So 50 Cent has taken the Marvel Universe aspect of creating entertainment, television, and a franchise, and incorporated that into gangster drug dealing. It's phenomenal. I mean, this is probably one of the, and I got hiccups, the live show with hiccups. This is phenomenal. The idea to continue the characters is great. Now I'd love to see more Spanish people get more opportunities like this. I have a ton of stories to tell. Like, it's hard to explain the Puerto Rican struggle being a Puerto Rican from the East Coast when we don't really have many other Puerto Ricans to identify with, and we identify with black culture on top of being a part of the creation of hip hop and growing up in the Bronx in such a multicultural time period. We definitely have a very unique aspect on this country and a lot of things. And I would love to tell that story the way 50's doing what he's doing with this Powerverse. So if you're not aware, Power went on and produced multiple shows that are now continuing on their own paths. They're kind of rewriting things. Not really rewriting because they're prequels. One seems the first one was Tariq, who was after, that was Ghost, and then they did Raising Cain now, and now we're gonna head over to Tommy. Every character is gonna have a show, and if it's written the way that things are being written right now, I'm just gonna be 1000% with you. 50 Cent's probably one of the most, I want to say 50 Cent is probably one of the most creative minds that we have, or just honestly has such a tap on that market that there's nobody better than him to do it. And what a better representation of that culture than 50 Cent. So if you're not paying attention to what 50's done, he's literally changed stars. He's changed how TV's being watched. He's really putting stories out there that should be heard. And now with moving over to BMF, this is insane. Like, he's telling stories that no one's told, and they're doing a really good job. It's really, really well done. And if 50 continues, I think he'll go down in history as probably one of the best brains and minds that we've ever seen in entertainment. Honestly, that we've ever seen. It's pretty phenomenal what he's able to do. I wanted to talk about Playboy putting a man on the cover. Now, I don't care, right? But it's like putting a motorcycle on the cover of Motor Trend car magazine. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that I have a problem with the dude on the cover. I bought plenty of magazines with way more handsome men than the fellow that was on that cover. Sorry, guy. Like, there's some, you seen that dude Thor? I got a whole video clip on my crush on Jarvis. Pause. But it just didn't make any sense to me. Like, why force feed this shit? You're not being inventive or new. You're just being annoying. Like, nobody gives a shit. Like, cool, you had a guy on the cover. It's still Playboy. We go to, like, it's like going to a cooking magazine and they tell you what fast food restaurants are available in your area instead of giving you a recipe. That's how I feel about these types of things. Like, that shit to me is so strange. But I mean, I thought there were magazines for that community that could appreciate that. I'm an artist and I'm very comfortable with my sexuality, so that type of shit doesn't bother me. I just feel like there's no point. You're not pushing any boundaries. You just look stupid. There's really no there's no creativity. Like, I don't see where the creativity is going or coming from. It just seems like they're doing things for shock value and just for fucking virtuoso-ness-ism, and it's really pathetic, just to be honest. So let's get into Dave Chappelle, the closer. What can I say? It was what he always does. It's Dave Chappelle. He always aims high, hits high. does what he does best, and he's able to spoon feed us bits and bits and bits of facts and bits and bits and bits of hard truths with jokes and honey. And as amazing as Dave Chappelle is, nonetheless, I can appreciate he's able to talk social commentary in such a fashion that it doesn't like turn you off or make you cringe. It's very, very subtle. It's very like medicine with sugar, like that term. Like you can catch more people with honey or whatever the fuck, catch more flies with honey than shit, and you can give people more medicine with sugar, things like that. Like Dave is able to take the way that I like to take the complex and make it simple. He's able to take the complex in emotions and make them funny, which are more digestible. And he's done a phenomenal job. And I've voiced it here that I believe that gay rights have surpassed the black plight, the POC plight, the Latin, the Hispanic plight. Yes, I truly believe that feelings have gone over people, just people. Dave Chappelle did a great job. Don't take my word for it. Please head over to Netflix. Go check it out. Great stand up. You might get offended, and that's okay. You don't have to love it. You just have to listen to it and just appreciate what he did. And watch the lady in the second row. She has like a short haircut. She looks like the type of lady that has that type of haircut, and I fucking love her because I know her name's like Jan or some shit, or she has like a guy name, but she's a girl. Like her name is like Jeff, and it's like some nickname or some shit her dad gave her when she was working on like a Ford pickup truck. They're in fucking Detroit. It's hilarious. But like at first they're all happy, and then Dave's like, yeah, I've been talking about white people this whole time. And she was like, her and her daughter just, and I think there was a dude in the front row that was offended. Like, it was great. The idea that you can get a crowd to come out and listen to you gripe or big up or pick apart anything that you want to, and you're able to articulate it in such a way that it's funny and it sticks, is fucking second to none. Shout out to Dave Chappelle, probably one of our greatest philosophers of our time. It's amazing. The Mount Rushmore of the amazing brains of our generation. 50 Cent, Dave Chappelle. These are amazing people. This shit will never go away. Like, they're changing how things are being done, and Dave Chappelle's style of comedy with the storytelling is amazing. He's a storyteller. His comedy is phenomenal. It's so fine-tuned that he's able to take social justice and social commentary and just mix it into comedy. It's great. So there was a school shooter, and let's try this teleprompter out. It has like a remote feature because we're not doing like the whole show teleprompted because I am off the cuff. So just being a buck with y'all, everything on the teleprompter is just the pull quotes from the news that we gather for the show. It's not scripted in any other way than what we do here normally. It's just something new that we're trying. Could you do me a favor? This is Ask Not an Ad. Head over to kalavoe.com. Go check out the new merch. Go check out the new layout to the website. We updated the website. We have a brand new hoodie. There's two hoodies. It's actually a pink hoodie and a sand color natural hoodie. Go check it out. It's a What's Going On Beautiful People hoodie. Y'all got to just go peep it. Let me know what you think. We got a couple other hoodies on the way, and there's some hats on the way. Just a bunch of merch and whatnot on the way. Just make sure you go check out the website, download the music, buy some music, stream some music, listen to the music, check out the videos, check out previous pods. We got 240 podcasts for you to listen to. Some go on for hours, some are minutes. Either way, there's tons and tons and tons of content for y'all over at kalavoe.com. Also, head over to popple.co, use Kasabian Lavoe, check out, save 20%. And hemper.co, use Kasabian Lavoe, check out. Now let's get into these stories and get that out the way. So there was a school shooting in Texas today. Let's see how this works. NBC News. There we go. The suspect, Timothy George Simpkins, was charged with multiple counts of aggravated assault with a gun. One person's in custody after 4 people were wounded Wednesday morning in a shooting in Timberview High School in Arlington, Texas. That may have begun with a fight, authorities say. 3 people were taken to the hospital, including a 15-year-old boy who underwent surgery and is listed in critical condition. Police say a teenage girl suffered a minor injury and has been released. A 25-year-old man is said to be in good condition. The suspect has been taken into custody without incident. Why didn't they beat the shit out of him before they lock him up? That shit bothers me. There was no incident. They should have accidentally knocked his teeth out. The Arlington Police Department said in the tweet, most students have been safely evacuated from Timberview High School. Luckily, Texas took care of that in a proper fashion. Nobody was hurt. badly, which is surprising. And they said it stemmed from a fight. Now, is this gang related? Who knows? It's Texas. We really don't know what's going on, but seems to be isolated and taken care of. That little boy should have got his fucking teeth dropped out just a little bit, just a little straightening, a little bit straightening. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of straightening. I promise you that. What else happened? So the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling is something that we discussed last episode about the $1 trillion coin and how they want to fix it. The debt ceiling to me is actually pretty just stupid to even talk about because it never changes. They do this fucking weird. You know how I know the government isn't serious about anything, and you should know too. Every August they go on vacation. Like they start this bullshit every year. They're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? We're gonna shut down the government. Again, Trump shut it down for almost a month. Nothing changed. It was just like the episode on The Office where there was no manager and everybody just went to work and worked. That's it. Like the government just kept running. Things just kept going. We didn't run out of money. Nobody gave a shit. We just kept on operating as usual until things went and got right. So right now, the Democrats just want to extend this bill either to December or pass the new bill. Republicans don't want no parts of it because they know it's a terrible bill, and they do this all the time. This is a pathetic game that they play. It really doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't have to be bipartisan. It can be one-sided because in this point in time, the Democrats run the majority. It's their house, it's their party, it's their everything. They run the purse. It's ridiculous how much the Democrats have a chokehold on the American politics and how it's literally like hand in hand with shitty living. Like everything goes to shit. Democrats run it. It's pretty amazing. But that's just my opinion. Let me take my opinion out of it. The debt ceiling can be raised by just the Democratic Party. All they would need is 10 Republicans to vote with them to give them a 60-vote majority, and that would pass the debt ceiling increase. Now, this debt will always be increased. The ceiling doesn't mean anything. The shit's all fake numbers on paper. If this was serious, nobody that was in Congress would go on vacation until this was figured out. Everybody goes on vacation all the time. To me, everybody in Congress is not only overpaid, they're probably one of the most unmanaged and unruly characters I've ever seen in any organization that are literally in charge of the free nation and every person in it. The debt ceiling is just going to go through the roof. What we need to do is focus on what that number is going to be and then figure out how we're going to control inflation. Mortgages are going up. That means that people are going to start to see increases in everything that's on the high end now. Like the lower end things like food and whatnot have been affected by the chain effect of stopping everything and starting back and the shortages due to manufacturing taking that hiccup. Now, we've been borrowing free money for probably 3-4 years. Like this is going to be the first time they start bumping up money and changing any type of percentages. So you're going to start to see changes in money, and then you're basically what you can afford goes away. Like if you could afford a $400,000 house, you might only be able to afford now $380,000, $390,000, and you got to come up with the rest. It might not be that drastic, but those points make that big of a difference. So I think interest went from 310 to 314. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it was almost nothing a couple months ago. So keep that in mind. This debt ceiling thing is one of those. It's frustrating because it's just bullshit. It's like a boogie monster. Like I had this idiot one time. I had a Honda. It was an Acura Integra. It was a Honda. This is a Honda, very common brand car. They sold me a car with a shitty clutch from a dealership, and I was able to get them to replace it because the car didn't even last 3 days of their shitty clutch. I go take it in. They fix it for me. The guy comes out and tells me that they ordered me a special part from China, and this special part's only for my car only, because I'm a VIP fucking customer. It was a $7,000 car at a fucking dealership that didn't even sell Hondas. So the special part is just like this debt ceiling that doesn't exist. It was a clutch, a very standard clutch. They changed it and fixed it. This debt ceiling is a number that they put out there, and then they scare each other into just like fucking agreeing to giving more money to each other. And for what? Because it all goes to naught. My biggest problem with paying taxes isn't paying taxes. It's the people that are in charge of the fucking taxes. Roads look like shit. Freeways are falling apart. Schools don't work worth a dick. And people don't seem to understand that in this country, the opportunity that's right in front of you is getting taken because of people thinking that the government can give you a better opportunity, which is beyond me. I don't think the government is smarter than me. Sorry, get over it. I don't give a fuck. Like, if I want my kids to learn a certain thing, that's just how it's going to be. This idea that the government picks what everybody learns is beyond me, because if the government was smart, why the fuck would we have a country full of dummies? Wouldn't we have a country full of smart people? Wouldn't we do everything we could as possible to make everybody smart in this country so that we had 342 million geniuses that couldn't be stopped by anything in the world? And all we did was be so productive, and we wouldn't even need the government because we would work for ourselves. We would have very small government that would just take care of certain regulations that honestly day-to-day people shouldn't take care of. But they don't. They teach us stupid ass shit that we never need. Algebra is probably one of the biggest fucking disrespectful things they teach us in school, bro. They make these kids suffer, and there's barely anything you're gonna use that shit for. Teach them how to get jobs, teach them how to pay bills, teach them how to get credit, teach them passive income, teach them how to use their hands. Legitimate things that are necessary. Teach them coding. Teach them how to use computers. We need to get the curriculum caught up to the times. Everything's changing. Y'all don't know shit. Y'all not teaching shit. School should be for people going to get a job, not just to go hang out and learn old ass 100-year-old fucking rules that make no sense. Now, the topic of the day that's like very controversial was Sage Steele, and this pull quote comes from NPR. Like I was saying earlier, this is very interesting. She's been fired, or at least taken off of air, for what she said. And honestly, I don't think what she said was bad. The fact that people take this as egregious proves my point once again, that the only people that seem to think that things are racist are white people. And the only people that come up with these rules for racism are white people, because it doesn't make any sense. There's nothing racist about what she said. If you're a mixed person, you're both white and black, or whatever the combination may be. My wife is Creole and Irish. She was raised by her Creole side, so she would identify as black. She will put black down. If she was raised with her mom, I think she'd identify as white. I don't see anything wrong with that. So the statement that was made by Sage Steele, or Steele, I hope I'm saying her name right, wasn't egregious at all, and it was actually a very factual statement. The statement was about former President Barack Obama stating that she finds it strange that he would put down that he was black even though he was raised by white parents and his dad was nowhere to be found. I don't find that to be an egregious statement at all. If anything, it's one of the most factual statements that she's ever made, and I really don't know the person, but I'm going to tell you this, the statement itself is very factual and should be discussed more, because you marginalize mixed people into hating one side of themselves. Like, I love when I watch other podcasts with like mixed people and they're talking about white people and they tell you that they were raised their whole lives by their white mothers. It's like, you're just bashing your people, right? Because you know good and goddamn well not every white person is white, and not every white person was a slave owner. That's not the truth. This is a lie that they've just put out there to just make everybody fight. Like, it's not even a thing. Yes, this country did prosper off of slavery many, many years ago for about 300 some odd years. Some would say about 400. That's never been taken away. They had tons of operations going on. There was a whole system to slave trade, okay? But when this country got squared away and we started taking in immigrants, I mean, most of the immigrants that came here and are here today weren't slave owners. They were basically poor whites trying to come up out the ground too. That's why I never try to make this show about race. I try to make this show about economics, because in all honesty, they don't give a fuck if you're white, black, or whatever. If you're poor, you need the government. You're going to be under their thumb. If you have money, you can be self-sufficient. So my goal is to make everybody self-sufficient so that they don't need the government and that they're able to prosper. So her statement was true. Why do we marginalize mixed children? Why is it okay for mixed people to speak so egregiously on half of their race when they don't even know their own history? Like, how dare you sit there and just like destroy your whole mother's family and then say you love your mother and your mother raised you with her fucking meatloaf and shit, but white people are like the devil. Like, y'all are so strange. Because I know you wouldn't talk that shit in front of your family, because you know what isn't true. You know your family isn't evil. Yes, there are bad people, all colors, all races, all creeds. I'm not saying no one's better than nobody. All I'm saying is that you're sitting there bashing people for views, and then you start narratives that children start to believe that just aren't true. These narratives aren't true. Stop being so fucking ignorant and stop shitting on your own people. Y'all are so weird. This pull quote comes from NPR. Oh, my nose itches. I'm sorry. Sports anchor Sage Steele is off air at ESPN after she called vaccine mandates sick and scary and questioned why former President Barack Obama identifies as black even though he's raised by his white mother. I find this interesting because the vax thing, I can see why they kicked her off for. Here, I tell everybody, go get the vax. Y'all know that. Don't worry about how I'm doing it. All I know is that I want everybody that needs it, go ask your doctor and go get it. Don't question if it's a Trump or a Biden or a political thing. Just know that for your health and for your safety, you may need this, and most likely jobs are going to make this a mandate, and we're kind of fucked either way. So what she said was a true statement. Nonetheless, Steele made the comment last week on the podcast Uncut with Jay Cutler, and her removal from the air was reported by Front Office Sports. In a statement to the network said at ESPN, In a statement, the network said, at ESPN, we embrace different point of views, dialogues, and discussions make this place great. That said, we expect those point of views to be expressed respectfully in a manner consistent with our values and in line with our internal policies. We have had direct conversations with Sage, and those conversations will remain private. ESPN also shared a statement from Steele. I know my recent comments created controversy for the company, and I apologize. She said, we are in the midst of an extremely challenging time that impacts all of us, and it is critical that I'm sorry, I can't read with this damn thing. And it is more critical than ever that we communicate constructively and thoroughly. Carol J. Phillips, a senior writer for Deadspin, noted a contrast between how ESPN treated Steele and how its response for former anchor Jemele Hill called then President Trump a white supremacist, characterizing the company's response as so different. I don't think what she said was wrong. The hesitancy about the shot, I think we're all at that point where we all have a hesitancy, and I think we should all be allowed to have a hesitancy. Like, why is it that we can't have any type of hesitancy anymore? We literally have to just follow whatever fucking rules they tell us. My grandmother was like that. When a person was wearing a suit and they would say something, she just didn't follow in line, and I was like, fuck. I always was like, why? Like, nothing ever made sense. Like, dead ass, the Seinfeld joke about putting the tray down when you're landing the plane. What happens if I don't fucking put it down? Does this blow the whole bitch up? Like, how dumb is it? You know, like, nobody ever has a reason. They just go, well, those are the rules. We're just going to follow the rules. That type of shit is corny. It doesn't make any sense. She didn't say anything bad. Yes, it is sick and scary. They're forcing the mandate, the vaccine on us. You don't get a choice. And they don't give you the options. Like, you don't force the flu shot on us. So at this point, if you don't want to take the vaccine, it's definitely on you. It's being now implemented as an emergency derivative, I would say. I guess that's the proper way to describe it. Like, are they going to make everybody take it? Probably. What's going to happen? Nobody knows. I think everybody's doing fine. I think everybody should take it. Why? Just to, I guess, get past this. Because if we don't take it, then we're just going to keep running in circles. And unfortunately, because it's so political, they've made it a mess. Now, be healthy. Take vitamins, work out, eat well, sleep well, lots of water. When you wake up in the morning, you should drink lots of water. Have a good 20-minute, 30-minute workout, and try to make sure and get plenty of sun, especially now in these cold winter months. Lots of vitamin D3, lots of vitamin C, fish oil. Make sure you just keep yourself with plenty of vitamins, plenty of water, and we should be good. But also, talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. Go to your doctor, get the vaccine, and let's make some progress. No, I'm not folding. I believe what I believe, but there's some people that may need to hear me say that they need to go get the shot, and there's some people that are going to say, Kasabian, I don't give a fuck, and that's fine. You don't have to, but for those that need to hear it from me, go get the shot. Just go get it. So, her comment on Obama was the one that was, like, pretty mind-blowing to me. The screenshots that I had were funny, but I don't really care. I want to know, how do you think or how do you see that going? If you are biracial and you're raised by one side of your family, do you see yourself as that side of the family, or you just claim, because black and white is the example that we're using? If you're dark skinned and you're raised by white people, do you just say you're black because you're dark skinned, or do you consider yourself African American? I mean, dark skin doesn't necessarily make you African. There's a lot of indigenous people, Spanish people, Latin people, people close to the equator are just darker skin naturally because of how the sun sits and how the equator works and Earth and things of that nature. Nonetheless, how do you identify? How does that work? How do mixed people feel about this? My wife said she never even thought about it. And I said, yeah, I think it's interesting, but I do know that a lot of mixed people bash their white parents, and they're usually raised by the white parents, which is amazing that you defend the parent and the family and the lineage that didn't take care of you. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not a racial thing. It's just the truth. If you were raised by white people, how you gonna sit up there and just talk about white people like that? Like that's beyond me. And if that's the reason why they took her down, then ESPN needs to really reevaluate their values, because either she has a right to say what she likes or what she would want to say, or she doesn't. She's emboldened to the company completely, wholeheartedly, and forever and ever and ever while she works there. And that's fine if that's what you signed up for. I don't have a problem with that, but she should be aware of that, and she shouldn't say shit. She should just keep her mouth shut and let that shit go, because it ain't going to go good for you. You have to play by the rules, and it just is what it is. So as a realtor, I've been dealing with a ton of issues because September was a very trying month. In September, the rent moratorium was finally up, so that started to move, and that caused a lot of action. On top of that, unemployment was up in September, so that slowed down a lot of things as well. Now, employment has been iffy because it doesn't really show in the numbers what's going on. Basically, nobody's going back to work, and then unemployment is down because people have just stopped claiming. I'm not exactly sure how that's all working out. Are people taking side jobs? Have people made their money off of crypto? Have people just sat back and, caked up off of their PUA, PPP, things, all those things that people are doing out here today to survive? Is that what's happening? Because if people aren't able to go back to work and make a decent wage that would at least kind of match up to what's going on with inflation, then you're going to see more issues in real estate than just the mortgage rate go up, because the rate has to go up. At this point, we have to make the mortgage rate go up and pay some type of interest on money to bring down inflation, because inflation's taking over right now in such a bad way. And if people don't go back to work, I don't understand how anybody sees this being a good thing, that there's not unemployment surging. Nobody wants to go to work. Nobody cares. You can't even get a fucking house right now because you have to literally make $5,000 to $7,000 a month, and that's not even an option in this town without having 2 or 3 jobs. Let's talk about this mortgage. This comes from CNBC. A sharp jump in mortgage interest rates over the past few weeks has taken its toll on mortgage demand. Total application volume fell nearly 7% last week compared with the previous weeks, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association Seasonal Adjustment Index. The average contract interest rate for 30-year fixed rate mortgages with a conforming loan balance of, they give you an estimate of $548,250 or less, increased to 314. So 3.14% doesn't sound like a lot, but it increased from 3.10. And I know what you think, but that doesn't sound like a lot. It doesn't, but it is. It'll literally put you might be able to afford a $500,000 house, and with those couple of points, you now can afford a $493, and you would have to come up with the cash difference if the appraisal doesn't come in. These are the issues. Your mortgage will be more expensive. You might not be able to afford that high of a mortgage, so you might need to look for a house that's $20,000 to $30,000 under what you need. So points also went up from 0.35 to 0.34, including the why is my brain doing this right now? Organizational fee? That's not the word. I know the word, and that's not the right word. But when you cut a loan, you have to pay a fee for that loan, and those fees are actually going up as well. Now, most people put down 20%. Most people should put down 20%, but most people put down less because they usually go with an FHA loan. So this is more talking about conventional loans and the higher end loans, but that definitely is going to tell you what happens with the lower end loans. So it's always good to pay attention to what's going on with this. Now, all these increases have happened since July. It's basically this last quarter of the year is where this is really starting to happen. Now, everybody's been refinancing because there's so much equity in their home. And if you do it right, you're going to be able to sit with the equity. I'll give you a perfect example. $1 million home, invest $200,000 to flip it. Now that $1 million home is worth 1.5. Have it appraised at 1.5. Refi at 1.5. Put $300 in your pocket. Rent that bad boy out. Pay your mortgage. Hopefully you get a mortgage at like what, 3% flat if you can, if you got the right credit, maybe 2. You pay probably 35, 4,000 a month on that thing, and you're getting, I wouldn't even say 35. I say probably 27 a month. Like, these are just rough numbers, and you're still bringing home like $3,500 a month, and the mortgage is paid, and you have $300,000 in your pocket, and you have a brand new refurbished home. This isn't no made up guru bullshit. This is real numbers and real shit that's happening right now. If you have a home and it has interest, and you have the ability to go buy another home and you can use that home as a rental, do it. Get the money, take the cash, and go do something with it. With $300,000, you can put solar on a house, get a solar car, get the credits for the solar on the house, get the credits for the solar car without paying gas. An electric car. Without paying gas, your electric car pays itself every month. With solar on the house, you definitely don't have a bill because the grid is taking care of your car for you. And if you have the right car, depending on where you sit, you can actually live pretty well with your electric vehicles. And there's so many options now. Why wouldn't you? You see what I'm saying? All from just one. So anyway, one house with refinancing and being able to see the business in the home. Refinancing demand, which is especially sensitive to weekly interest rates, movements fell to the lowest level in 3 months, down to 10% last week compared to its previous week. Volume was 16% lower than the same week 1 year ago. I don't like when they compare the year-to-year thing, but that's interesting. Higher rates are reducing borrowers' incentive to refinance, as declines were seen across all loans. Mortgage applications and purchases of homes have declined 2% for the week and were 13% lower than the same week 1 year ago. It was driven by a drop in conventional loan applications. Government loans, which were mostly used by lower income borrowers, saw a 1% increase in demand. The problem with the FHA loan is that it doesn't give you the same securities as a conventional loan. FHA loan, you may have PMI. FHA loan, yes, you do put less down up front, therefore you pay more. They're more expensive loans, so they're not the best. Yes, they're government backed. They're easier to get. Again, like I said, you don't put much down. So yeah, there's pluses and minuses, but guess what? As long as you're not renting, you're doing good. Whatever you do to make money for yourself and for your family, that's an amazing task. It really is. Let's get into some tech stuff, because I'm like real estated out, and I got one more real estate story for you guys, but this tech story is actually pretty fun. So Ray-Bans have the glasses now with the cameras in them, and they're actually getting really good. The story comes from the Wall Street Journal. Ray-Bans story glasses can record video hands-free and boost. What the fuck does that even mean? Boost Facebook's technology? Am I reading this right? Am I tripping? So Ray-Ban partnered up with Facebook, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I find that pretty amazing. And these glasses not only can record, they're Bluetooth, they have headphones on them, and they actually have commands on them as well. And they look good. They're not like big, giant, goofy-ass spy glasses. They're actually very trendy Ray-Bans. I'm a huge Ray-Ban fanatic, so the idea that Ray-Ban came out with spy glasses was beyond me. And I told Mandy, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for fucking Ray-Ban spy glasses because they just look cool. And they're not really too expensive. I don't know if you guys remember the first Google glasses that were not really unveiled. They were just worn on a red carpet. They were like really big and bulky. Nothing dope. But the novel Ray-Ban design frames lies more normal. Like if you look at the frame itself, it's a beautiful frame. It's a beautiful glass, and it's not like kooky. You know, like old Oakleys? Remember the big ass wraparound Oakleys? Like it don't look crazy like none of those. They're actually really dope. And the footage is actually really clean. They've actually figured out how to make these sensors in the cameras really well. And you could imagine the pranks and all the bullshit these kids are going to get into. I really don't know what the practical use for it would be. I got a couple ideas what I would use it for, but I just think it's kind of cool to have. Get you some. Like, and if it's got something to do with Facebook, I'm sure it's got something to do with the Oculus, so it might have some VR feature. That'd be pretty dope. Now, if you had a glasses that had LiDAR and could give you like measurements of shit in front of you, kind of like Dragon Ball Z blooper thingies, then we're talking. I would love to have something like that. I think that would be phenomenal to have glasses that had some type of smart brain in them, and on the lens would give me information of something in front of me, especially if I'm at a house. I'm a real estate agent. What if somebody's like, yo, how far is that, or how tall is that wall? And I can tell them by just looking at it, and my glasses will calculate the height with the LiDAR. That's phenomenal. If that's what's coming, I'm excited. Now, how high can rent get in Las Vegas or how high can rent get in Nevada? People keep on asking me. I have a lot of clients looking for homes, and I've been having the worst time finding them anything because one, rent is as high as it's ever been. Excuse me, my nose itches. Ugh, my allergies. Rent's as high as it's ever been. Besides it being as high as it's ever been, it doesn't seem to be slowing down. And we're all starting to find out that here in Nevada, we don't have a law that limits how much rent is. So this story comes from Fox 5 Las Vegas. Nevadans are learning that their rent hikes, no matter the price, are legal under state law in most cases. Landlords have to give a 60-day notice for tenants under a typical lease. Across the valley, rents have soared $300 to $1,000 for the next lease term. It's just not reading anymore. For the next lease term. And according to one county commissioner, even doubled. So people are seeing rents go from $1,200 to $2,000 to $2,700. Rent has gone up 30%. They are asking for 5 times the rent. They want to see your income. They want to see a 700 credit score. They don't want any evictions. They don't want any problems. It's so strict. It's so overwhelming that if you are in the business of owning rentals or you have properties that hold multiple people, you're living in the big bucks because people can't find a place to stay right now. Rooms are renting for about $900 a piece right now. That's how bad shit's gotten. 2 residents in the Colton Apartments in Henderson were sent a lease term renewal notice. One of them said that it was $500 more. The other one was $700 a month more. A staff member at the apartments declined comments to Fox 5. So the Avenue 5, they referred comments from Fox 5 to Avenue 5 corporate office. And the office has not responded. One of the tenants said, "It made me angry. I understand everything is going on. Prices are on the rise. How can people live?" Stacy said, wife of Jason, a disabled. Why can't I read? Yo, what's going on with me today? Stacy, you know what it is? It's not moving, and it's upsetting me right now. It's not moving, and I'm trying to hold my frustration. It costs too much to be playing these games, y'all. It's so frustrating. How can we live? Stacy said, wife of Jason, a disabled vet. The fact that a disabled vet can't afford rent, beyond me. It's sickening. We're a one-income family. I stay home and take care of my husband, and it's making it twice as hard. Their renewed lease started from $1,175 a month and would increase to $1,675 a month if they choose to stay on a long-term lease. If they go month to month, it'll go to $1,974 a month. Stop playing with me. I'm lucky it's a touchscreen. Kennedy Taylor said she has no choice but to move. Her rent rose from $1,178 to $1,875 per the notice, and if she chose a month-to-month option, it would raise to $2,222 a month. Holy shit, that's expensive. Like, these are apartments, y'all. We're not even talking about houses. We're talking about apartments. These are apartments and not the best. Commissioner William McCurry II spoke against rent rises in late September by saying, "This is not the time to be greedy. This is the time to show a little compassion and keep people housed before we really have a crisis on our hands." Now, I don't think they understand what's really going on. This city's falling the fuck apart, and they haven't paid attention to the people that live here, so we have no work. Now, with no work has come probably one of the most one-sided economic systems Vegas is cut right down the middle. Either you got it or you don't. There's no in between. There's no good jobs. There's no long, stable jobs. Every job here is pretty much a dead-end job. Tech jobs are nowhere to be found. Casino jobs underpay. These union jobs, they're either not taking care of enough people or there's just not enough work for these people. And because of California and California's money, everything has gone up. The problem that we're experiencing now is that California stopped moving. Now, guess what? Your $400,000 house isn't worth $400,000 because the locals can't afford $400,000. So your house will start to go down in value now because those that are from California have now moved here, which they've created this bubble, which is not a fake bubble. It's a legitimate bubble. The money's really there. The issue lies in that when the money stops coming in, now we have to depend on locals and local work, and local work isn't good. Local work will not sustain $400,000 median home prices. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it may be happening faster than we would like to see, and it's happening across the country everywhere in big numbers. Like, houses are dropping prices left and right because the moving stopped, everybody's settled, everybody's where they want to be. Most of these people working from home, so they're making great money still working from home, and they don't even have to go back to California or any other major city. They could just literally work from their home, make X amount of dollars, live well, and not have to deal with the day-to-day rigmarole that they were dealing with and fussing with taxes, fussing with traffic, and things of that nature that come with living in one of those busier cities. But what does that mean for a city like Vegas that's usually affordable, decent living, not the grandest of opportunities, but nonetheless, opportunities are here. For business owners, I think Vegas is an amazing place. And for those that are just, looking for something here and have a dream, go for it. Go for it. How do we fix this? I don't know. Rent's going to keep going up. People are going to keep asking for more. My goal is to buy as many properties as I can between now and the middle of next year. And hopefully I can house as many people as possible because I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. Money's becoming worthless. Crypto's always up and down. We really don't know where crypto's going to land. Housing is taking I can't say a fall. It seems pretty good, but the problem is just the strength in buying. If a FHA person comes in to buy a home, they may only qualify for 380 and the house, wants to be sold at 4 and change. That person's not going to be able to come up with the rest cash to cover the loan. The bank won't even approve it because appraisal is going to start to go down. Once appraisal starts to see that prices are being cut, the appraisal of your house comes down. One, supply and demand. Like, there's starting to be more houses on the market, so that's going to change. How does that affect rent? We don't know yet. More houses that are able to be sold and maybe put up as rentals, maybe they help. Maybe Airbnbs help. Maybe the multiple homes or multiple living arrangements help. I don't know. We have a lot going on. And with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go play video games with my friends. My name is Kasabian. Live in the moment. Don't live in the past. Be safe. Stay dangerous. Lavoe loves you. Wine.